horror fans and film enthusiasts, welcome back to what used to be Mike and Juju's movie corner, where we've sliced through the layers of cinematic classics and serving them up to you with a side of nostalgia. And, as you can see, your host Mike is not with us today. You can kind of say that we had a difference of opinion, and I guess you could also say I slashed him out of this episode.
That's right, Ghostface. Mr. Ghostface. It's Halloween month. We're diving into the archives of our childhood to bring you a series of episodes dedicated to the spookiest, the kookiest, and the most iconic films that shaped our love for the macabre.
And now don't worry, our co-host here isn't going anywhere. Are you, co-host?
No, Mr. Ghostface.
That's right. And what better way to kick off than with a true horror masterpiece that still sends shivers down our spines to this day. Ladies and gentlemen, grab your popcorn and dim the lights as we dissect one of the best horror films of all time, starring none other than yours truly, Scream. Released in 1996, Scream revolutionized the horror genre with its meta-commentary and clever use of horror tropes. It was directed by the legendary Wes Craven and written by Kevin Williamson. The film relieves a love letter to the horror genre while simultaneously poking fun at its conventions.
It's like they were holding a mirror up to a horror genre and saying, look at
You're right, man.
Sorry. It's like they were holding a mirror up to the horror genre and saying, look at yourself. But let's talk about the opening scene, Mr. Ghostface. It's a classic that sets the tone for the entire movie.
You mean the iconic opening with Drew Barrymore, maybe? Casey Becker in the film. Real masterpiece. Suspense and horror from yours truly. I remember the phone call, the cat and mouse game I played with her. It's all so deliciously terrifying. And let's not forget the horror trivia. Should we play some trivia?
It's whatever. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
You don't want to answer a question wrong from me. It was a brilliant, and I say brilliant because it was my masterpiece, way to introduce the rules of the game.
It's true. The film starts off with a bang, or should I say a scream. That opening sequence was like a horror movie within a horror movie. It's a nod to the original Halloween, but with a fresh, modern twist.
Halloween has nothing but me.
You monster.
The casting, what can I say but spot on? I mean, can go wrong with me. And that's Sidney Prescott, the beautiful Neve Campbell, who is our final girl in all horror films. That would make anyone question their own sanity. And can't forget Courtney Cox, the very dim-witted David Arquette, and the hilarious Jamie Kennedy, who all play their roles to perfection. And let's not forget about Skeet Ulrich as Billy Witness, the boyfriend with a secret.
And who could forget the ultimate scream queen herself, Jamie Lee Curtis. Her cameo is so unexpected and brilliant. It's like having the original final girl pass the torch to the new generation.
Speaking of passing the torch, let's talk about those plot twists. The movie has more twists than a pretzel at a yoga retreat. The killer's identity, the motives behind the killings, and do not forget the rules, y'all. that the killer follows are all part of a twisted game that keeps you guessing until the very, very end.
It's true. The plot is like a giant puzzle, and it's so satisfying when the pieces finally come together. The movie keeps you on your toes because it's always one step ahead. Just when you think you know who the killer is, it throws another curveball at you.
Thank you, Melmy.
I've heard stuff about you.
Probably right. Shh. And let's not forget about the killer's costume. That Ghostface mask is one of the most recognizable in horror history. That's right, guys. I did that. It is simple yet very eerie, isn't it? That really is a visual representation of anonymity and terror that comes with a slasher film.
The costume is a stroke of genius, by the way. It's something you could find in any costume store, which adds to the real world horror to the film. It makes you think that everyone could be the killer, even someone you know.
And let's not forget it. It makes you scream. But also there's so much humor. There really is a horror comedy that does not shy away from making fun of itself. Wit was a new concept at the time. You know, I revolutionized the game on modern horror. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, Mr. Ghostface.
When they brought me the script, the dialogue, I had to do so much to make it sharp and witty, and still incorporate pop culture references that hold up today.
Absolutely. The movie has some of the best one-liners in the genre.
Do you like scary movies?
Is a question that's been etched in horror history. And Randy's rules for surviving a horror movie are hilarious and meta addition to the film.
Look, love, don't mess up again. You're hearing he is not, 'cause I like you. You know, pop his ass like that white guy.
You butchered it!
Alright, let's remember her. The awesome Jamie Kennedy in this film. Played the character of Randy. Y'all remember Randy?
Poor Randy.
Randy was the smartest one. He really was a pivotal character. He is the horror movie aficionado who breaks the fourth wall and explains the rules for the audience. It's like having a guide through the film's horror Easter eggs.
And his character's arc is so tragic. He's the one who knows all the rules, but when it comes down to it, he's not the one to make it out alive. Probably like me. It's a harsh reminder that sometimes knowing the rules isn't enough.
That's right, guys. Just 'cause you know the rules don't mean you can outwit me. Moving on to the kills. What I did for the movie Scream managed to be both gruesome and innovative. The use of practical effects keeps the gore realistic and impactful, and each death scene has its own unique flair. Remember that?
I remember. The film doesn't shy away from showing us the brutality of the murders. They're not just off-screen or quick cuts. Right there with the victims, which makes the experience so much more intense.
And the soundtrack. That opening theme song is just haunting. Something I can fall asleep to at night. You know what I mean?
No, I do not know what you mean.
And the use of the 90s hits like Red Right Hand by Nick Cave and The Bad Seeds adds to the nostalgic vibe of the film. Really is a perfect mix of classic horror and contemporary tunes.
The soundtrack is a character in its own right. It adds so much to the atmosphere and tension of the film. And let's not forget the iconic ringtone that still gives me goosebumps whenever I hear it.
Now, let's discuss the film's commentary on the media's obsession with violence. Scream was released in the mid-90s. The comic true crime was becoming the immediate sensation. The film satires this by having the burgers become a twisted form
of entertainment within the story.
Yes, the film critiques how the media sensationalizes tragedies and turns them into a spectacle. It's eerily relevant even today with the rise of true crime podcasts and documentaries.
like what you guys do. Think you can get into the mind of people like me?
I'm trying to get away from the mind of you.
You're lucky to win. But
Tend to be sometimes.
so this film really touches on the blurred lines between reality and fiction. The killer, yours truly, was inspired by horror movies, and the characters themselves are aware of the tropes, which blur the line between the horror they're living and the horror they've seen on screen.
Well, it's like the movie is saying, look at how we consume media and how it can influence our perception of reality. It's a thing that's still relevant, especially in our social media-driven world.
And talk about the impact Scream had on the horror genre. No one had an impact like we did. And it has since spanned off 7 more movies, revitalized slasher subgenres, and paved the way for other meta horror films like Cabin in the Woods and Get Out. This showed us that you can be both scared and entertained while watching a horror movie. It was a
game changer. Scream brought a new level of self-awareness to horror that was missing. It's a film that's both a love letter to the classics and a modern twist that keeps us hooked.
I still remember as we wrap up this episode, let's talk about our favorite moments. Juju, what's your top Scream moment?
Oh, it has to be the climax in the house. The reveal of the killers, the twist, the suspense. It's all so well done. Plus, Sydney's final battle is empowering and cathartic. She's the ultimate final girl.
So you like the ending? Where they made me look like a jackass?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, for sure. For sure.
Alright, you're not look to take the ending. Well, alright, so, pick for me, and be the opening scene with Drew Barrymore, the cat and mouse game, the phone call, the beauty, and how I slashed her into pieces. You're
diabolical. You need some help. Save me. And before we go, we have to mention the amazing sequels. Scream 2 and Scream 3 are fantastic in their own right, each with their own twists and turns.
That's right, the Scream franchise has its ups and downs, but for the 3 films as a horror trilogy, you can't beat it. And now, with the new Scream film on the horizon and the ones that have followed, with a whole new cast, and now Sydney's coming back, I'll finally get to end that. Alright, y'all, thank you for joining us on this nostalgic trip down horror memory lane. We'll see you next week for another Halloween episode of Mike and Juju's Movie Corner. Or maybe this will be the last one. We'll decide if Juju stays around for another week. Until then, stay safe and keep watching those horror classics.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
You're done. Damn. Matter of fact.
Entertainment purposes only, y'all. We love you all. Good night.